Hello. Merry, 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 and happy, happy, happy. How are you? Chance is here. Hello, Joan. Hi, Ann. Hello, Purple Nan Linda. Chance is in the house. Oh, yes, he is. As usual. Do you like my festiveness? It goes with my outfit so well, don't you think? I know, right? Yeah, it's I crack it out every once in a while. Then most of the time I forget. I don't know how long it'll last. Probably not very long. Because I'll end up getting too hot. You know how it is? Your head, hot head. How are you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing great. Yes, Chance. Come on. Come on. Get up here so you'll be quiet. Okay? Yeah. Hello, Linda. Hope Tim is doing continuously well and better and whatever the right lingo is. It's good to see you guys. I'm so glad you're here. I don't anticipate that we'll have very many people here today, but you just never know. Chance is deciding that I'm going to pat his head. And if I don't choose to pat his head, he's going to pat his head on me. It is Friday, December 22nd, as we're broadcasting. It seems like holidays are so far away. So far away. And then all of a sudden, it's like Thanksgiving, and then and you blink, and it's Christmas. Hello, Catherine. It's like you blink, and it's like, how did that happen? I don't know. Anyway. I know. He is a mess, this one. He is an absolute mess. And he is not regular cat. He is just not a regular cat. He is him own self. Aren't you? You're your own self. He's a good boy. He's a sweet boy. But he makes me crazy. Linda, coming home for Christmas. Oh, how nice. And he can walk independently. That is a Christmas wish come true. That's great. Elvis is in the house. Thank you. Thank you. I bought this hat a few years ago. I don't know. I think I bought it so I'd have the trim. Honestly, when I was painting some of the Santas years ago, I bought it because I liked the way the trim looked, and so I was using it as my model. Yes. It is so great, Linda. I'm so happy about that. I'm so happy about that. Anyway, it is Christmas. I don't know if you celebrate Christmas. If you do, great. If you don't, understood. Not judging you if you don't celebrate Christmas. However, I do, and so I expect in return that you won't judge me for celebrating Christmas. How about that? Okay, so we're gonna Chance, you just can't, buddy. So before we get started, I'll try to remember to acknowledge this and announce it again, but there won't be any more streams now, I don't think, unless it's an impromptu thing. I don't think I'll have any more streams until January 5th. I think that's when I'll be back. You're making my nose run, buddy. Not that you care. And you're making me sneeze. Ugh. Anyway. What? Ah, sorry. He is literally making me sneeze. So good to see you all today. Anyway, I have a lot to do between now and early tomorrow morning. A lot. But we're going to stream for a while because I want to. Yes, because I want to. If I can get this cat to leave me alone. He thinks that he's the center of the universe. And probably he is. Anyway, what I'm going to do, now that he's got my nose all stopped up, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to cover this little moleskin notebook. And so we're going to do that because I need it to get good and dry. So this is a piece of paper that I did at some point. I think this might have been with one of the prompt, draw the cards, prompt cards type thing. I think that might be what this was about. Sorry about the snotty nose all of a sudden. It's Chance's fault. And I am sticking to that story. He is 100% going to get the blame for that. Hi, Angie. You can't talk above a whisper? I'm sorry that that's the case. One of my friends has had that. Do you think you could go in the other room and lie down? Maybe. He's complaining now. So this is just a piece of paper that I truly don't know when I made it. I think I made this on stream. It's made on mixed media paper, so it's lighter weight than cardstock. Oh, Chance, you just are exhausting, buddy. You are exhausting. And he doesn't care. Anyway, so I'm going to cover this little notebook with this paper. If you have ugly papers that you don't know what to do with, hey, Barbara. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're here. Oh, he likes my hat. Well, you tell Carter I said Merry Christmas. And thank you for liking my hat, Carter. Yes, thank you, Carter. I'm glad you like it. And it's pom-pom. I probably have to keep doing this because the pom-pom will get in my face. You can only wear it just every so often. You know what I mean? It's just not every day you get to put on a Santa hat that has leopard trim on it. Hey, Rhonda. Chance has my nose all stopped up today. Oh, what a cat. What a cat. And now he's sitting on all my wrapping paper because he knows. He knows. Yeah, he knows that if he does that, he's liable to get attention. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to do this. Just see if we can cover this notebook. What? He's over there just complaining to beat the band, that cat. He is. So I'm going to be leaving my house tomorrow early. Oh, so what I started to tell you earlier and then sidetracked myself is that there will, I think maybe I did say this, but I'm going to announce it several times, and that is there's no streams from me until January 5th. Okay? Hey, Kathy. Good to see you. He really got my nose going crazy here. All right, we're going to see whether this glue stick's going to hold this. I imagine I'm going to have to put glue stick and tacky glue on this. That's probably what's going to have to happen. So at the moment, I'm going to use glue stick to begin with. And then I'm going to squirt a little bit of tacky glue here and there to kind of reinforce the glue stick. Okay. Hope you guys are doing great today. Thank you for hanging out with me. How many notebooks did I fill this year? Journals I filled, I think I'm on number 6 or 7. I can't remember. Usually I do 7. Yeah, because I usually get six weeks or so, 6 or 6.5 weeks in a journal. But that's probably what I filled this year. I'm currently going back through them. I'm kind of doing a year in review for myself, which I did the same thing last year, but last year was much more difficult in a lot of ways because it was the first time through the holidays. You know, Claus Man had the audacity, not that he planned it, although he wrapped up the year, the calendar year. Not that he planned it, but he wrapped it up, and this time 2 years ago was a real tough time around here. Really tough time around here. And anyway, so that was 2 years ago, and last year, this time, at the time that I was dealing with him, which sounds terrible to say I was dealing with him, but, you know, it's kind of the way it was. You don't have time to think about it. You don't have time to feel it. Mostly you don't have time to feel it. So mostly what I was doing 2 years ago was just dealing. And at that point in time, I was so tired. Super duper tired. Just whipped. And so as a result of that, you know, I did journal, which I'm very grateful for. Very grateful that I journaled through that whole thing, that whole time, because I certainly could not, I didn't have time to process anything, you know? Okay, I'm going to come back down here. So I didn't have time to process or think about anything. I was just doing, you know, you just got to do. And trying to just hang on. You know, I knew that we were facing the end of the road, but you just, when that happens, you don't know how long the end of the road is, how long it's going to take. You just don't have any idea. You just got to do it. But I kept journaling. And so then last year, I went back on my year in review type thing, and I read. Every day I read what was going on the year before, which is a way of doing two things. It's a way of getting some sort of perspective, you know, and people can say, oh, it gives you closure. Well, I don't know that you ever have closure. I think that you just deal differently from one time to the next, you know. I don't know that you ever get closure. Some people may feel like that. I think you just process and keep moving, and when days or occasions or whatever crop up. Okay, Chance, you're wearing me out, buddy. He just complains and carries on. This cat just complains. When stuff pops up, you just deal. You just flat out deal with it. That's your option. You deal. Or you shove it into the abyss of your head and wait for it to come back and slap you. Are you ready to go in the other room and have a snack? Or some catnip? How about some catnip? Does that sound good? Okay, I'm gonna put him in the other room. Okay? That's okay, Rhonda. You do what you do. Hey, Dorothy. Rhonda, you do what you need to do. Come on. Come on. Come on. I'll be extra nice to you today. Come on. Treats and catnip. Come on. Come on. There you go. Yeah. Have a nice afternoon, buddy. Have a good nap. So this year in review is, I have to say, has gone a lot better, which lets me know that, life is moving forward. And for me, that's my decision to move forward. I refuse to be stuck. Clausman would expect far more from me than that. Again, I'm sorry for the nose issue. Chance got my nose very upset a minute ago. You love Chance. He is a crack up. I know. I hear you, Angie. I hear you. Anyway, okay, so this is what I did. I finished covering this little notebook. It is covered with, I used a combination of glue stick, which glues pretty quickly, and tacky glue. I did tacky glue in the spine here. So far, I don't think I've glued it to the wax paper, so that's a good thing. We'll come back to this in a minute. So I've put a couple decks of my cards on it and a weight, and then I'm going to shove it out of the space over here. Okay, we'll let the glue set up, which shouldn't take very long. My hat keeps doing weirdness. I feel like, yes. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make some tags out of scraps. Oh, that's great, Kathy. She did a December Christmas journal and bound the pages into a book. That's cool. I did one December journal years ago. It was actually a class that I did. It was a fun class. It was with Romany's Realm in the UK. It was a fun class to do. Okay, so I'll show you what I have. These are scraps. So these are just scraps of papers. This is the one I was just using. There's another bit of it. This is just scraps of acrylic paint and stamping and stenciling, but when cut down into tag shapes, it'll be fine. I don't know what this was. I think it's cardstock, acrylic paint, but truthfully, I don't know what this is. I don't know where the spots came from. I don't know what I did on that. I have one tag that I need to do out of purple, And so that's what I'm going to use. This one. This is watercolor paper that is, I know this is acrylic paint washes on here. So I have that. This should make some pretty tags. Metallic paint. I think this is stenciling. I'm sure it is, but I don't have any idea what stencil it is. Yeah, most of this is mixed media paper. This is probably the same thing. And I think this was a stream I did. And I can't remember exactly how I did this. That's the thing. Unless you write it down, I do enough stuff that unless I write it down or go back and really look for the streams, I lose track of how I did it. This was a piece of mixed media paper. This has some of my mandalas that are, this I know that was a prompt thing. This is some of the mandalas that I've done, printed out on the sticky back canvas. But anytime you have paper that is a big sheet of paper, let's say this one, either one of these, that one or this one, and you don't like it, I mean, I look at this and I go, yeah, I'll probably never do a thing with that, ever. And then you cut it into smaller bits and pieces, it always looks good. Always does. Always looks good. Oh, that's a good idea. Kathy Whitney has a sledgehammer without a handle, and she uses that as a weight. That's really good. Yeah, I have several of these irons like this. This is the only one I have that's one piece. I have two that are the ones where the handle is separate, where they would heat up, put the bottom part of it on the stove. I think it was how they did it. My mom told me about what her mother would do. Not to use as an iron, but she would heat them up and then she would wrap them in some sort of heavy blanket or toweling or something. And then my mom would have that because it would be warm. This was before there were heaters in cars. And so she would put it on her lap. So it had to be well wrapped. Put it on her legs to keep her legs warm as she drove to college. Because she drove, 20 minutes, 30 minutes or something, whatever it was, because she wanted to live at home. My mom lived with her mother for a long time because my mom's father passed away when she was 14, I think. And so she tried, memory serves me right, I think she lived one semester away from her mother and then went back home. She did not want to live away from her mom. I understand. Okay, so what I have here is some clothing tags. I also have dies for tags, but I have these as I like the interesting shapes. So I could, this one's a little sturdier, I could use the dies that I have, or I can just use these and draw around them and cut them out. And I decided that's what I was going to do. Okay? Okay, so let's do it. So these are just going to be gift tags. And we'll talk while I'm doing that. And, just to make it more fun, we're going to put it upside down. And I'm just going to draw around some tags and cut them out, and we'll be surprised. Because otherwise, I'm going to get hung up on picking the pattern. And I don't want to do that. Okay? I don't want to do that. I just want to be surprised. So we'll do some. And I'm going to mark the hole just so I don't have to figure out where probably the center is of this. This morning when I was getting ready, I was watching APG Jamie's live from earlier this week. I guess it was yesterday. I didn't get to see her live, but I was watching her recording. She is fun to watch. If you don't subscribe to her channel, I recommend that you do. And she said some things that I was going to comment on, but of course now I didn't write it down, so now I don't remember what I was going to comment about. I know. Let's just go right here. But I thought these shapes of tags were pretty interesting. What I really wanted to do was I really wanted to use pictures of the people, like childhood pictures of the people that these are going to. But, you know, if you're going to do that, you got to start a lot earlier than I did. You got to start early, and you got to be, you know, there's too many things to do to spend a lot of time. I spend enough time. I feel like I wear you guys out with Christmas as it is. And like I do a lot of Christmas projects and stuff. And I feel like I do Christmas forever. And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, I should have done that. And I should have done that. And I should have done that. And I didn't do any of it, you know? So anyhow, the good part about these is because they're decorated, once I cut them out and ink around them, you know, it should be Bob's your uncle. Punch a hole in them, and I'm not going to put eyelets or anything like that. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to punch a hole in them, put a string on them, and there you go. Alright, so there's that one. Once it's cut up, it should be good. So I thought, hey, Amber. Oh, well, that's good, Kathy. She said she and Alden could never have too much Christmas. That is good to hear. Okay, let's do the same thing on this one. I'm just going to turn it over. I'm not going to stress out about what pattern is going to happen. We're going to let serendipity take care of that. So I thought while I was doing this, we would talk about some Christmas memories. Again, I had a whole list. I even wrote it down, my list of things I was going to talk about today, and I forgot. I don't know where I put my list. Yeah, my list is here somewhere, but I don't know what I did with it. So we're just going to hope that I remember. One of the things on the list was to tell you when I was streaming again, which will be on January 5th. So we'll check that off the list right now, because I've told you that a couple of times. So pass the word. If anybody wonders where I am, you'll know. And also, if I... hey, Mary. Merry Christmas to you. So if I, there's a project that Race wants me to do, and he said that I could stream it if I wanted to. Now, will we do that? I don't know, but I'm going to be having Christmas with him and Izzy, and I'm very excited to do that. And so he said, you could even stream it if you want to. I'm like, okay. So I don't know. Or we'll record it and we'll put it online later. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, okay? I'm not making any promises on that because I go out there and I have the best of intentions and then they fall flat. So, yeah, sometimes that happens. Okay, so we have this. So I'm just going to rough cut these. But it could happen. He sent me a picture today of what it is, and so we'll see. And I'm sure that we'll be making sweet petals. Again, I don't know. We always did that here. We always did that on Christmas Eve. Yes, when we would do the sweet petals. The recipe for the sweet petals is somewhere. It's somewhere online. And there are multiple videos on making sweet petals. All right, let's do these two. We'll do some of these. We'll do some of that one. And we'll do whatever that is. Okay, back to this. Hey, Josie, good to see you. That's true, Rhonda. That is so true. I did, and those videos are on the channel here. Somewhere, the videos are on the channel. Let's see what will fit on here the best. The best use of this little... Maybe we'll do this one. Sweet petals, if you don't know, are a sweet roll, sweet bread dough. It's a yeast dough. And the yeast dough is a buttermilk, has buttermilk in it. That's the recipe that I like the best. I like the flavor that the buttermilk gives it. It's just basically a white bread recipe that is made with buttermilk, but it has yeast in it, so you have to give it time to rise and do all that stuff, you know. And then you mix up, it's a combination. Well, if you find the stream, if one of the mods finds the stream that has the sweet petals, any of them should have the link beneath it that has the buttermilk or has the recipe. So if any of you find it, oh, you did find it. Okay, perfect. And there's a PDF of the recipe. So if any of you want it, there are some people I know that actually made them. Okay, this one's going to be a little tricky. We may have to go from the front on this one just so I get some of this, since there's a lot of blank space here. Anyway, and so once you have the brown sugar and cinnamon mixture mixed up, this is after you've done all the rising and all that stuff. All right, this one we're not going to make good use of the paper. I'm just going to take the parts that I want, because this truly was a scrap paper. And I think this is cardstock. I believe it is. It's awfully smooth. I think it's cardstock. Anyway, so then you cut the dough into small pieces, like walnut size, like an English walnut size pieces. And then you roll them out into snakes. And then you start in the middle of the pan. And I usually use, my favorite is to use disposable cookie pans, like the foil cookie pans, because then I throw them away. After the fact, I throw them out. I don't keep them. And so then I roll them out and make a bunch of snakes out of the dough. And you have to have lots of butter, several sticks of butter on hand, because it never comes out even, ever. Okay, never. You can think it's going to come out even. You can think you have gauged the right amount of butter and the right amount of the sugar and cinnamon mixture. Nope, you will not. You will come out disproportionate on one of them. Anyway, well, that looks ugly, but that's okay. We don't care. It's a tag. It's going to get thrown in the trash. It's gonna get thrown in the trash. Let's pick up this flower here. So it doesn't matter. These are just gift tags. The to from kind of gift tags, you know. And I'm sure I have a stamp around here that has the to from on it somewhere, but darn if I know where it is. I got nothing. I got nothing on that. Anyway, so then you start coiling in the center of the pan. The first one, which is the most desirable sweet petal, coils around in the middle. And the next one coils around the center. And you keep going. And so it starts out like this. So here's the pan. Okay, so the middle starts like a spiral. And then the next one overlaps here, and then it overlaps there, and it overlaps here, and it overlaps there. And you just keep overlapping the snakes of dough that's been rolled out like a snake, dipped in butter, and then dipped in the sugar mixture. Okay? And when you do that, eventually you fill the whole pan. And that's why it's called sweet petals, because it starts in the middle and it makes a rose kind of thing. Okay, and I've never had anybody who tried it that didn't like it. But there could be somebody out there. If they don't like cinnamon, they wouldn't like this. So there is that. And it only works well. Well, that's a boring one. My goodness. Okay, well, we may or may not use that one. That's kind of a boring little tag. Oh well, it doesn't matter. And these are going to be kind of boring too. But at least there's some visual texture going on in this one. All right, we'll pretend that we didn't see any of it. We'll just draw round tags, cut them out, and see what happens. Anyway, so if you want to see... Now, under a caveat, trigger warning, Clausman is helping in those, because we did it multiple years, and so he would do them with me, help make the rolls. Race and my granddaughter were there at least once, and that, I believe, was also online. I think we did that live. Sometimes the lives worked really well, sometimes not, because I was, as technology got better, it was easier to do the broadcast. The first time we did it, I think we kept getting disconnected, and I don't know what year that was, but every year the technology got better and easier to do. But we did it multiple times. It's the same recipe, same process, same everything. And it seemed like one year, I don't know, we had to wait for the dough to rise, and so there was usually something that we had to do. I think one year I showed recipe books, my family's old recipe books. We talked about family recipes, because this is supposedly a family recipe. I truly don't know. My mom was adamant that this was a family recipe, and maybe it was. I don't know. I mean, it was always in our family that I remember. My earliest memories were of sweet rolls. Sometimes they were a different kind of sweet roll in a different shape. But, once we started doing sweet petals, we did a lot of sweet petals. And the most delectable part of the sweet petal is the middle, that center. That's the prime real estate for sweet petals, So one year when Race, and because frequently the family gathered at my house, once I was an adult, family gathered at my house. And so Race and two of his cousins, the two cousins were at our house, and these three little boys were real close together in age. Race was the middle one. And so one year we had made all these sweet petals, and Race was probably, I don't know, 9 or 10, something like that. So one year, that year for Christmas, we had made a ton of these sweet petals. So there's that one. We'd had a ton of sweet petals because we had a lot of people that were going to be there for Christmas breakfast. Okay. And so I mean, by the time the whole family would arrive at my house, I was whipped. Whipped, I tell you, whipped. All right, let's just pick out. Let's pick out this one. I'm going to draw from the top on this so that I get the section of the purple with some interest and something that I like. With any luck, I'll have more than I need and I'll have a head start on next year. You think that's possible? Anyway, so I got up the next morning and you can almost see that. Came out in the kitchen. Okay, let's do another one. Maybe over here. Came out in the kitchen and to check, to get ready to put the sweet petals in the oven to warm them up. And of all the pans of sweet petals, of which there were multiple pans, all the middles were gone out of every one of those pans. Well, I knew who the culprit was. I knew the culprit was, the culpable person was going to be Race. Indeed. And so I hollered at him and out he came. After a while, I knew that he was the one who had caused this problem. And I figured what had happened is that those 3 boys who were all staying in the same room, I figured that the 3 of them had gotten into the sweet petals and had probably eaten them all. And, I'm getting ready to find out, investigate what has happened. And, okay, good enough. I don't need a bunch of those. Let's see if we can get some out of this one. This is watercolor paper, and so it's pretty hefty. Pretty hefty paper. I'm going to go to a heavier lead pencil. Yep, all the middles were gone. Okay, that won't work because that one is about out of lead. Let's see if this one... Nope. Okay. Apparently we're going to use this one because it's the only one of my pencils that has lead in it at the moment. This one we can go this way. So anyway, all the middles are gone. So here comes Race. His voice hasn't even changed at this point. He's got that little high-pitched prepubescent voice, and he's giggling as he comes out. And I said, what? Sorry, I've got to get the lead. Okay. I said, what happened to the sweet petals? I don't even remember exactly what I said. I probably didn't say it that nicely because I was tired. By the time I'm getting ready for the whole family to descend, and I'm trying to, my mom she is not capable of hosting anymore, but, she was coming to help, but I had to have things together and all that, to the best of my ability. Anyway, I'm tired. I'm really tired, and I'm probably not in the best mood. Let's be honest. Probably not in the best mood. Comes out, and I said, what happened? Did you eat these? And he and the other 2 cousins came out, and they are cackling, all 3 of them. They are just having a great time, because they have gotten me. Of course, I didn't see any of this coming, and they've gotten me. They got me good, And they finally come out in the kitchen, I'm like, I don't know how funny this was, for you guys to do this, but I guess it's funny. And they all disappear because they are going to go, you ready for this? Retrieve the middles. They had kept them all on a plate, and they'd hidden them in Race's bedroom. Okay? They hid them in his bedroom. So they come back, and I said, and of course, everybody's laughing now. We're all laughing because all the middles are back. They didn't eat any of them. None of them. And so I don't even know, knowing little boys, young boys, they could have been under a bed. They could have been in a closet. I don't know where they were. But we ended up plunking, I think we plunked them back in the sweet petal pans. If we didn't, we just ate them the way they were. I don't know. But anyway, it was one of the memorable moments. It was one of those memorable moments in Christmas history. Christmas family history. The year that they stole the sweet petal middles. Yeah. It was pretty cute, actually. It was a pretty cute thing. Once I got over the shock of the fact that they actually did that, it was a lot of fun. He was an ornery kid. Good-natured kid, but boy, he was ornery. You get him with two other little boys, yeah. Boy howdy, as the saying goes. Boy howdy. Yeah, they could, what one of them didn't think of, the other ones could. So anyway, sweet petal history. I know, right? No, I will never forget it. I wish, now see, if I had journaled, I would have all the details written down. That is one of the things about journaling, the way that I do. And I use my journals as a combination of memory keeping, like the remains of the day kind of thing. If any of you took that class years and years ago, the remains of the day was where you used up all the kind of like Smashbook type things. That was the remains of the day class. I've forgotten who did that class. Marianne, I think it was Marianne, somebody. One of the people in the group will know. I don't know if that class is even still running. I'm just going to chunk all these out to start with. But anyway, her class that she did, it was kind of my first exposure to junk journaling. And so the style that I do with journaling, it's taken me a long time to kind of develop, hybridize all the different ways that people journal and different things that I've learned in video, people that I've watched and stuff, because I was never a scrapbooker. Never did scrapbooking. I should, because all of my photos are in a trunk. I have very few of Race's childhood photos in albums. That was when he was growing up. It was photos, color photos. Well, by the time you get the color photographs developed, then you got to put them in a book and all it's, I was over it. Where what I do now is I use my little Sprocket printer, and I print out the photos right then and there. Will they last over time? Probably not. I don't care, They're going to last as long as I need it. So I use a combination of photos and memory keeping, and I also use my journals as a way to process what I'm thinking or experiencing or trying to work out in my head, So it's all that. It's memories, it's random stream of consciousness writing, it's all those things. And so when I go back at the end of the year and reread them, sometimes those things that I run across, I'm like, well, I wasn't counting on having to re-experience that. That I did last year, a lot of that, because of the writing I did while Clausman was in the last stage of his life. You know, there was a lot. It was a pretty tough read, actually. Good read, but tough read nonetheless. And but it took me quite a while to kind of get onto that style of journaling. I have all different sizes of journals. Like, I've got composition notebooks. I never put photographs in those back then when I was using those. I had journals, like I would buy sometimes 3 packs of journals, you know, that were the same size. And I really liked that idea, you know, where they were the same size. Really like that. That was fun to have a set of 3 journals, because I knew that they went together. So I had those, and then one day, I don't know why, maybe somebody sent them to me, I really don't know, but one day I started using the Moleskine Traveler's Notebook inserts style and size of journals, and I went, oh, I don't know where this paper has been all my life. I love the way that paper writes, and I like the size of it. They're easy to take around with me, and I can carry it in my purse. And they're always crammed full. My current journal is always crammed full of papers and, you know, goodies and stuff that I want to incorporate. And sometimes they move, sometimes that little packet of stuff moves from one journal to the next. But that is a boring tag right there. Good grief. That is one boring tag. That one's not even going to make the grade. We're not going to use that. I have all these other ones that at least have something interesting on them. Yeah, so like I said, it just takes a while to kind of get on to how you want to journal. And some people try writing and they go, that is not for me. I get it. Some people don't like to write. Some people just like to make the journals. Some people like to do more of a scrapbook style stuff. But I am so glad that I journal pretty much on a daily basis, because then when I go back, I use it. I use my journals for the basis for stories a lot of the time. And sometimes some of the memories I run across, I go, oop, didn't really want to feel that again, because I don't censor myself in my journals. And my standard thing is, if you don't want your feelings hurt, do not pick up and read my journals. And I don't hide them from anybody. That's another reason sometimes people won't journal, is because they're afraid that people are going to get their feelings hurt if they pick up the journal and read it. And my thing is, look, it's my journal. You don't want your feelings hurt? Don't read it. Keep your nose out of it. You know? It's like, keep your nose out of it. Keep your nose to yourself. And every once in a while when I write, this is kind of funny though. Every once in a while when I write, I'll have something that I've run across things where I've apologized to my son. And I'll say, if you're reading this, I'm really sorry. Please just know that I was having a frustrating day. So, because that way, if anybody is reading them and says, don't worry about what you said to me, it's like, gotcha. Hopefully nobody reads my stuff until after I'm gone. You like my hat? Hey, Ruth, thank you very much. It's my once a year hat. Yes, it's my once a year hat. Thank you for joining me on this once a year adventure of memories. So anyways, that's so that is the story of Sweet Petals. And the interesting thing about sweet petals that I was talking about a minute ago, the interesting thing about that is how many different people I have made sweet petals with over the years. I have made sweet petals with lots of different people. Last year, was it last year? At least one year. I think it was last year. I don't always do them at Christmas. Sometimes I do them other times of the year, but I almost always do them at Christmas. The Studley Duck helped me. And he is by far the craziest person I have ever made sweet petals with. The craziest, bar none, is the Studley Duck. He doesn't call them sweet petals. He calls them petals. I don't know why, but he cannot get it straight. They are sweet petals. They're not just petals. They are sweet petals. That's the real proper name. But what he does is he likes the cinnamon sugar and the butter process. And every person that helps me, I have to teach them the process. It's not that hard, but it's amazing how you have to teach people how to make sweet pelt, how to make the... I drew the picture for you guys. It's not that hard, okay? But you always have to teach people because they want to do it the right way. So this is how he does it, okay? This is how he does it. He rolls one in the butter and cinnamon sugar and puts it in the pan, and then licks off his hands, and does like this, and then he goes for the next one. So yes. Claus Man did things that were kind of similar, but you know, these men and their ability to keep their hands out of the cinnamon sugar is not great. I've made them with Race. I've made them with my granddaughter. Made them with lots of people. So, hey, Kate. Hey, Jamie. I did draw a picture. Right, Ruth. It is. The Sweet Petals is like a trade name. You got to get the name right. Jamie, I watched your video. I didn't get all the way to the end that you did. I guess it was yesterday, the live that you did. Was it yesterday? Where you did the stockings. Those were so, I'm telling you, those were so stinking cute. If you haven't seen Jamie's video on the stockings that she did, where the toe area and the top area were tags. Those are stinking cute. Yeah. Y'all need to go watch that. Yeah. What I'm doing is I'm putting my tag samples. You've never heard of sweet petals, and you have not lived until you've had sweet petals. All it is, it's just a yeast dough, but the dough is buttermilk based dough. It's actually a bread dough, but I love it because it's buttermilk based, so it has a little different flavor than just like a white bread kind of dough. It's a yeast dough, and it's all in the shaping and that butter and sugar mixture. So here's my little tag samples. I also... Well, hi. Well, hello. How are you? Huh? How's this girl? It's too bad she can't hear me, but... Yes, we have an unusual... Hopefully my camera doesn't fall off the... Wait, come here. Hey, come here. Come here. Yes, okay. Oh, it's an unusual Muppet sighting. Yes. She's so black. Hey, come here. Put your head up here. She's so black that the camera, this is a webcam I'm using, it compensates with the light, so the light goes in and out and carries on. Yes. She's a good girl. She's She's getting some pats because she's going to have a guest taking care of her. She's going to have a guest staying and taking care of her. I'm telling you, I don't know if I'm going to make it too much longer with this hat on. Oh no. She is a sweet girl. She doesn't hear anymore. And she has one of those big fatty tumors on her side. You know. Lipoma? I always forget the name. I know it and then it goes away. You know, those fatty things that dogs get when they get old. She has one of those, you know, and if they've got them externally, you know they have them internally as well. So anyway, she's kind of lumpy now, and she's got a growth in on her eyelid. So far, we haven't had to take it off. They get old and they start costing a lot of money, don't they? It is a little warm. It is a little. I'm getting a glow in my cheeks because of it. Okay, so here are the tags that are chunked out. Okay, so I've just chunked them out, and so we're just going to kind of mix them up, and then we'll just start cutting some out while we talk some more stuff. How's that? Does that sound good? So sweet petal memories. The thing about sweet petals too is that if you decide to make the sweet petals, it's really good if you, just checking my notebook here because I'm covering it. Just checking to see if it looks like it's stuck. There's a little bit that needs. Often I have to come back and add a little more glue, you know, where it hasn't stuck down, like there it hasn't stuck. That's okay. Let's trim this up before we do the tags. Then I can add the rest of the glue on the edges that need to have some edges done. So if you want them warm, what I do, they taste freshest if you will warm them, put some foil over them, and warm them in an oven about 325 or 350. You don't need to warm them for very long because you don't want to bake them anymore. You just want to warm them up. And so, yeah. But I like them when they're warm. You can also do them in the microwave. So once we have them done for Christmas Day, if there's any left, usually after that, honestly, there's not usually very many, but if there are any left, then from there on, I just warm them for a few seconds in the microwave. I try to only make them once a year because I can't stay out of them. I can't control myself. And as we all know, I've been doing this food control program for 4 solid months. I'm on my last nerve. I'm on my own last nerve about this. Yeah, I'm tired of this. But I need to get through the holidays and then make sure my weight is, that I'm stabilized as much as possible. And then I will transition off of this program. I'm ready. Okay, so there is that. And I need to get a piece of sandpaper. I'll be right back. Or we use a sanding sponge. You can use an emery board. You can use one of these. I think the dog needs out. Let me put her out real quick. She's standing here looking at me. Come on. I will not dare to show you the state of my studio. I won't dare to show you the state of the studio. My studio is a wreck. There is a box over here on the floor in front of the window that has styrofoam peanuts and bubble wrap in it. So several times a day, I pick up all the spread out bubble wrap and peanuts and put it back in the box. It's purely for Chance's pleasure. I put it all back in the box, set the box right side up, and within about 10 minutes, it's upside down and all the stuff is strung all over the studio. Currently, it is strung all over. Hey, CB. That's her eyes. Yeah, that's true. If you wet and squeeze out a paper towel, lay on breads or rice. When you nuke them, they will be moist and not dry. Yep, good idea. Okay, so let's go back to this. So I'm just going to use the sanding sponge. If this kind of noise, grating noise bothers you, mute now. This just helps to, for lack of a better term, it blends the edge, or it just bevels the edge of this paper. And it also makes it more susceptible to ink, which I will ink these edges around here. But I know this is like fingernails on a chalkboard for a lot of people, so if it's bothering you, I had the funniest comment. Was it last week from somebody that I think it was last week. I had used, yeah, it's when I was finishing up painting stuff. And somebody left me, and I don't know if it was a joke or what, but left me a comment that green was not a good color to use. I'm like, what do you mean? What? What do you mean green is not a good color to use? Green is a color. There are no good or bad colors other than taupe and tan. Tight and buff. Yeah, that's not a color. Hello, Joni. What do you mean green is not a good color? What? Anyway. All right. I'm looking for color of ink here. We're just going to use my standard. It's the one I go back to all the time. It is cobalt blue. Ugh. Cobalt blue. Archival ink by Ranger. Blue is not a good color to use. It's like, green, sorry, did I say blue? Green is not a good color to use. It's like, what are you talking about? What a comment. Anyway. You know what? It takes all kinds. It surely does. And if you don't have a thick skin, you don't have any business being online. Sometimes my skin is thicker than others. I even had a comment one time that was, who watches this stuff? Really? Well, you know, people do. People watch it. I never understand, you know, now I may have a running commentary in my head when I'm watching videos, which is frequent, that I do have that, you know, where things will just be going on in my head, but it never comes out my fingers. Never does. Never comes out my fingers. Like, I wouldn't do that to somebody. I wouldn't say that to anybody. what's going on running through my head. I wouldn't say that to somebody. Why would you say that to anybody? I don't know. It's just, you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. If you don't laugh, that is the one thing about this life. You have got to laugh, right? Okay, so there's that. And now I've got little spongy bits all over my desk. So to get rid of the spongy bits from the little sponge, you use a lint roller. This needs to be one of your craft supplies that's on your desk, on your table, close by at all times. It gets rid of cat hair and crap. Okay. All right. I'll go back and fix the any little loose edges. But anyway, that turned out okay. That's going to be fine. So we're going to put this back under the weight situation. So it can finish making sure that that dries. We're all a little weird. Yeah, we are. That is so true. Happy birthday, Dorothy. Happy birthday in advance, which I forgot. Watch this for exciting subject. What did Joni say? You should show her what you can do wonders of the green Santa gloves. Well, that's what that person was watching, was the green Santa gloves, which is exactly what tripped the trigger, I think. Okay, so we're done with that for now. So that little project is well underway. So now we're going to go back to this. All right, so we've talked all about sweet petal making. So I thought I would tell you about some of my most memorable Christmases. I wish that Race were here because he would chime in with his most memorable ones, which I'm sure are vastly different than mine. Partly because some of them precede his birth. It's hard to remember something if you weren't born yet, isn't it? All right, there's a thick spot on this because there's some of the sticky back canvas mandalas, printed mandalas, that I randomly stuck around on this piece. All right, I'm not going to worry about the ends of those tags because, you see, I have this, which is this thing that you can stick in here, and instead of curving those little edges, you just stick the thing in there and whack them off. Whack-a-mole. Whack a corner is what you do. Okay? So there you go. All right. And the blue finger. All right. So we'll just let that be out here. The prerequisite is you better laugh. Yeah, you better laugh. If you don't laugh, and admittedly, I've had times in my life where there was not much laughing that went on. And, when you lose your smile or you lose your laughter, that is not good. And you got to find it again, because your life, no matter what's going on, is going to be a whole heck of a lot better if you find your smile or your laugh yet again. So, one of my most memorable Christmases whack a tag. That is right. There was, and probably, I'm going to guess that everybody here has gone through this experience. I could be wrong. I gotta watch for my dog because she's out there doing, I don't want her getting into mischief. Since she doesn't hear anymore, she doesn't cause me trouble by being out in the backyard barking at every cotton picking thing in the whole wide world. That's handy. But because she doesn't hear, she is real tricky to call. I have to blink the lights and stuff to get her to come. Anyway, so, all right, let's just do these as we go, shall we? We'll just do them as we go. See how they turn out. Looks okay. All right, moving on. I'm sure all of you have had these issues where, we weren't particularly flush with money. In fact, we were having a real tough time financially. I don't remember what went on, but boy, we had, I don't know, a year or two. And this is not when we were newly married, mind you. This was when Race was I think he was out of high school, and I don't know exactly what had happened, but man, it was rough. It was tough sledding in our household. And it's Christmas, and I'm like, oh man, I don't even know how we're going to do this, because it's Christmas, and you gotta, just because, and we had grandchildren, it's like, just because it's Christmas doesn't mean that, just because you're having a hard time financially doesn't mean that you can't still enjoy Christmas, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean that the holidays stop coming around or anything. So that year, we decided that, we would still do whatever we were going to do for our grandchildren. But the three of us, Race and Clausman and I, would draw names, even though it was just three of us. Okay? That's how poor we were that year. That's how poor we were that year. We had to trade names. And so we had two chances to trade names. One was for the actual gift and the or Christmas presents or whatever, and the other one was for stockings, because we always did Christmas stockings. We filled Christmas stockings. And so that year we decided that we were going to trade names, exchange names for the gifts, and we were going to have a limit on what we were going to spend. And then we were going to exchange the other names. So if I got Race's name for the gift portion, then I got Clausman's name for the stocking filling. And we posed a financial limit of, I think it was, I don't know if it was $5 or $10 for the stocking. It was not much, let me tell you. And it was, I think we had a $25 limit or something like that for the gift. And it could be one gift or it could be multiple gifts, didn't matter. But you had to either make it or it had to be recycled from a thrift store or garage sale or whatever. And so that's what we had. So that was the deal. And, so I'm like, well, this is going to be interesting. We were all on board with it, and we promised each other that we would not violate the rules. And I don't think we did. I think we abided by the rules. Anyway, my parents were, they lived here in town. Both of them are gone now, but at the time they came and celebrated pretty much every holiday with us. And I thought this is going to be interesting because they're not going to understand this. My parents were classier than this Christmas was going to be. And I thought this could be really interesting. Well, that Christmas, and this is quite a while back, that Christmas we had more gifts wrapped under the tree than we had ever had at any Christmas in our lives. Let's see, did I do that one? Yes. Literally had more gifts under the tree. And we had started this whole shopping thing, I think around Thanksgiving or the first week in December or something. I don't remember exactly when we did it, but it was early enough that we had enough time to do things. And the person who got into it the most was Race. And he had more fun shopping at thrift stores. And he bought Pyrex dishes. I mean, he made his money go further than any of us. He bought old Pyrex glass dishes, and most of them were so scummed up with burnt on crap that he took like power sanders to blast, or maybe a sandblaster. I think we had a sandblaster back then, a small sandblaster. He may have even used the sandblaster to get all the crap out of these dishes so that they were usable, because he had my name, so he did that. It was hysterical. Claus Man at the time was making wine, and so we got numerous wine glasses. Again, they were junk, but they came from thrift stores or dollar store or something. I don't remember. It must have been the thrift store. And because the thing was, it had to be repurposed, or you had to make it. So you could buy the stuff new, like you could go buy new materials, but you had to actually make the gift, or it had to be recycled, repurposed of some, in some way. We had so much fun that year. My parents came over for Christmas, and they could not believe their eyes. I couldn't either, that there were so many gifts under the tree, honestly. But we each had made such an effort to make sure that there were more presents, as many presents as possible, so that we made, like if something had multiple parts, we made sure that, every part was individually wrapped and stuff. And so we had so much fun. My parents could not understand the joy and the laughter of that Christmas. I mean, because it's by all intents and purposes, it was junk, that we were, because most of it came from, quite frankly, from garage sales and thrift stores. But it gave each of us, the three of us, a chance to see things with new eyes, and to see how far we could make our allotment go, because we went to the bank, and we got cash, and we divvied it out in envelopes, and we each had the same amount of money to work with. It was truly one of the most, it had the potential to be a very sad, experience, because it was so different than what we had experienced like the year before, but instead it was one of the most memorable and joyful things that we ever had together. And I mean, there was a lot of that. I gotta be honest, a lot of that stuff went back to the thrift stores. Eventually it wound back up in the thrift stores. His Claus man was making wine, and so we had a ton of wine glasses. It's like nobody needs that many wine glasses. Nobody. But it was a day where there was a sale on stuff at the thrift store. Buy one get three free or some craziness. Yeah, it was fun. That was a great memory. That was truly one of the most memorable moments ever. When I was a kid, I was the youngest of 5 girls in my family. So the way that Mom got us to get, she could dangle the carrot in front of you, man. She was excellent at that. And so you'd go to bed on Christmas Eve, and Santa would come and fill the Christmas stockings Christmas Eve night. And then the next day, before they would have the area where the Christmas tree and the Christmas stockings were. That area would be all blocked off, so you couldn't just rush in there, and you couldn't go in there until you were dressed, your bed was made, your teeth are brushed, all that nonsense. That's how Mom got us to be ready for the day. Otherwise, it wasn't going to happen, And then we had to line up. You had to line up outside the room to go into where Santa had come. And we all had to line up, youngest to oldest. Well, that worked real well for me because, for 5, 6, 7 years until the nieces and nephews started coming along. I was at the front of the line, so it worked out real well for me. And then after every niece or nephew came along, then they would line up in front of me, So I moved further and further back until there were enough in the family, enough of my older sisters got married and they were doing their own Christmas traditions, for Christmas morning with their families in their homes. And by that time I was old enough that we weren't lining up anyway. But, yeah, it was always fun to see what Santa would bring, because my mom and dad they really did a nice job on keeping the magic in Christmas for a long time, as long as possible. It was always fun for those moments. And I remember some of the most memorable things that I got under the Christmas tree because, some things didn't fit in your stocking, I got a play school desk when I was a little girl, and maybe some of you remember those. It was a green play school desk, and it had a seat attached to the desk part of it. And it had a like a little flip top thing, and on the part that flipped open, as I recall, was a chalkboard. But when you flip that open, inside was a pegboard thing, and there were pegs, and so you could it was kind of the predecessor to the Light Bright, if any of you remember the Light Brights. And I don't remember what else it had in it. I remember there was I think a pencil tray, where you could put crayons and stuff like that. But I loved that little play school desk, and that went through a lot of grandkids. I don't know where it ended up, but probably it finally broke down. But that was back in the day where they made toys that would go through multiple generations. And I'm sure it was something my dad had to put together. along with a lot of other toys that didn't come assembled. And then I got, I remember the year that I got a bride doll. I got a doll every year. I love dolls, always did. Until the year that my mom announced to me, I think I was 12, and she announced to me that it was too bad that I was now too old to get any more dolls for Christmas. And I have to tell you, that just broke my heart. That broke my heart. I'm telling you, absolutely broke my heart, which is probably exactly why I ended up becoming a doll maker, designing my own doll patterns. CB says she and her sister had to wait Christmas morning until Dad set up a tripod with his movie camera and the floodlights. Will it get you more excited or frustrated, CB? I'm not sure which. What are you slow stitching, Mary? What are you working on? Mary has done some beautiful tatting, by the way. She did a tatted snowflake, I think. I'm not sure what else. Years ago, our Sunday school class, years and years ago, I mean, this is like 30 years ago, easily. Our Sunday school class had an auction, and it was how we raised money to send to a local, or it's not local, but it's not too far from us, children's home. And we'd have an auction. And so you would bring, whatever. Some of it was white elephant gifts, and some of it was, I don't know that we auctioned everything off, but there was some auction aspect of this involved. Can't remember exactly. Anyway, there was a doctor in our class. He was an OBGYN doctor, and his hobby was tatting. And I ended up with, he would tat bookmarks. They were like crosses that he tatted. And I don't know if he probably doesn't do that anymore. He's not in great shape these days, but I won't say he's not in great shape. He's just no longer practicing. He does other things, We all move on, and we all have our own stuff we deal with, right? But that was a hot commodity, was his tatted work. I mean, that was the first time I ever knew of a man who did, other than Rosie Greer, the football player, and he did, what was it, needlepoint that he did as a stress reliever. You guys remember Rosie Greer, big old pro football player? Yeah. Anyway, so back to the memorable Christmas gifts. The last Christmas gift, the last doll that I got, which was the year that I got told I was too old, it was too bad I was too old to have any dolls anymore, was a Mary Poppins doll. I think that was the year that Mary Poppins, the first original with Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke, Mary Poppins movie came out. And I don't know who made the doll, but anyway, I think I still have it. Very sentimental when it comes to some things. And the doll had an umbrella in it, just like Mary Poppins had, and had a parrot head on the handle. Yeah, Rosie did needlepoint. Yeah. You're a beginner tatter. Oh. Well, you do a pretty darn good job, Mary, I have to say. That's the first movie you ever saw. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. Yeah. Was it a master desk? I don't remember, Ruth. I don't remember. It was green. I remember that, but I don't remember anything else. So we're just happily cutting out tags here because, you know, what else are you going to do on a day like today where basically, man, last night I had to go somewhere and I left home and I was going to get on the Interstate 70 is real close. That's the interstate that goes right across the state of Missouri from one side to the other. I mean, it goes through more states too, but it's real close to my house. So I was going to get on the interstate, and fortunately, I got in the line of traffic. I got in the correct lane. It's one of the few times in my life I got in the correct lane to avoid a potential problem. And the traffic was backed up on the interstate as far as anyone could see it, all the way up the entrance ramp. And to get on this highway, there's 2 lanes to get in. One of them, both of them will take you onto the interstate. But one of them, you have no choice. You have no choice but to turn to go on the interstate. The other one, you have a choice to go on the interstate, or you can avoid it and go over the interstate and get on the access road. Well, by some stroke of luck or protection, I was in the one where I could go over the interstate and avoid getting on. If I'd been in the other one, I would have had no choice but to stay there until I could somehow get across multiple lanes of traffic. Gosh. I don't know how long it took that traffic to start moving, and I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened to cause that. I'm guessing it was a wreck, but I don't know. Could have been just a traffic backup because of everybody trying to finish Christmas shopping, which by some miracle I was pretty much done with. It's like if I don't have what I need at this point, A, I'm leaving tomorrow, so it kind of becomes a moot point. And B, I don't do crowds all that well. Not for things like that. It's like, nope, I'm not interested. Just not interested. Yeah. So anyway, I avoided that and figured out with the help of my Maps app how to avoid all that. I was very grateful for that. Very grateful. Yes, Ruth is a cheap thrill. Even now, a box of 64 crayons with a sharpener. I know, the sharpener. I loved the sharpener when they came out with that, the sharpener on the box. Never did a very nice job sharpening the crayons, but nevertheless, you had one with sharp. I was so jealous of people who had the box of 64 crayons when I was a kid, because my mom, the most I had for a long time was 24 was pretty much good enough, right? And then at some point I got the box of 48 with the flip top, I thought that was cool. I liked that flip top. Well, then I think I finally got a box of 64. Oh, man. Yeah, there were colors in the box of 64 that you didn't get in any of those other. I did like carnation pink and cornflower blue. Those were my 2 favorite colors. I did like those colors so much. What were your favorite colors? I didn't like olive green. I didn't like that one. I didn't like that color. So in that case, I had to agree with the person that complained about green wasn't a good color. I did have to agree with that. I didn't like olive green. What were your favorite colors in that box of 64? And did you keep them in the order that they were in those little cardboard pockets? Or did you have to rearrange them, Ruth? Time to confess. I don't know if you've noticed, but my hat keeps creeping down my forehead. It's like, keeps coming down. Oh, so the stockings, you guys, all the stockings got done. And let's just say that one of the things that some of you know about me, but maybe not all of you know about me, is I have a real issue with upside down and backwards. I think that I am mildly dyslexic. And the issue of upside down and backwards struck yet again. Can't really give you more details on it than that, but yeah. Sadly, so sadly, upside down and backwards reared its ugly head yet again. And I thought, you know what? It doesn't make any difference how much I think about it or how much I process my way through it. It will still get me every cotton picking time. Because I'll think, this time I got it. This time it's going to be right. This time it's going to be the right way around. Nope, it'll still be backwards to what I want. Or upside down to the way I intended it to be. It's a good thing that there is that I know how to edit videos, and I know how to adjust for mistakes. Because I'm here to tell you, I've made plenty. So any of you who kick yourself for doing things that aren't real bright, just remember, Barb doesn't either. Barb doesn't either. Oh, sea green was your favorite color. Yeah, that was a good color too. Seafoam green, right? You got caught like that the other night by the local farmers doing a festive tractor run. Oh, that's funny. They all decorated and lit up lots. Oh, I bet that was kind of cool, Dorothy. Shuttle tatting. Yeah, Catherine does shuttle tatting. With a size 000 knitting needles. Whoa, I don't even know how you do that. I don't even know how you do that. Hey, Sharon. I don't even know how you do that. Periwinkle. Yeah, that's a good color too. Periwinkle's a good color. Joni and Sharon both like periwinkle. Kept them in order as long as possible. Sea green. Oh, sea green was your pre-purple stage. Yeah. Ruth is a purple. I bet Ruth loves these. I bet you love these, don't you, Ruth? I bet you do. I bet you love those two tags. I bet you wish I was sending you a Christmas present, Ruth. One year, Ruth made me a whole choir of angels out of different shapes of pastas. Adorable. I have them all in a box. I haven't put up a Christmas tree for several years, but I have my angel choir waiting for the next time I put up a tree. I just have not. I haven't had I love making Christmas ornaments, and I love doing things for Christmas, but putting the tree up myself, yeah, not my thing right now. It hasn't been for a few years, but you know, I will again. So anybody else have colors from the crayon box that you loved? And the box, and it doesn't matter what box, what size box. You know, Dee Dee Willingham has a box of crayons that's just for sniffing. At least one, maybe more. Yeah. And if you don't have a box of crayons, you really should have one that's just for sniffing, so you get the full sensory impact. And you should have one that you keep in color order, just because. Don't you think? That's when you know you're really you've really fallen on your head when you got to keep 2 boxes of crayons that you won't let yourself use. Needle tatting instructions can be done. Yeah, one time I bought the needle that they sold for, ooh, I can hardly see this. Got to look over the top of my glasses so I can see where my line is. I bought the needle that they sold for needle tatting. I don't think I ever did it. And it had a VHS tape. I think I started watching it and went, yeah, that looks pretty simple. I don't think I ever tried it, though. I don't think I ever tried it. I probably donated my needle tatting needle to Goodwill at some point. I don't think I have it anymore, but I don't know. It could be here somewhere. There are a lot of things that I've kept because of How to Get Creative. You know, I've just kept them and had the supplies. This is a pretty little tag. This turned out okay. And it's double-sided. Yeah. Not bad, not bad. Let's see, what are some of my other gifts that I liked? I don't know. I always preferred to make gifts as opposed to receive gifts, and I still am that way. I still would much rather give things than receive them. Receiving gifts is pretty uncomfortable for me, but I love to give things. That I especially love to do. But being on the receiving end of things that's much harder for me. Anybody else like that? Any of the rest of you guys like that? Where you'd rather make it than receive it? Trying to keep the scraps off my desk, because otherwise I get overwhelmed by the scrappage. Rhonda understands. Purple Nana Linda understands. I don't know what that is. You know, some people just love to receive gifts, and they're so good at doing it. It's like, when I grow up, I want to be able to do that. When I grow up. When I grow out of this stage. Yep, it's much harder for me to receive than to give. I like these little tags going on here. Look, my little stack is growing. Look. Little stacks. Let's line them all up. I don't have too many more to cut out. I'll cut them out. If you're tired, if you're bored looking at these, then you can just, you know, you can just not look anymore. But I'm going to punch holes in them here in a minute. But I would like to just keep chatting with you and cutting these out, because that way I'll get them done. And then hopefully I may ink around the edges too at some point, but that may not happen while we're doing this. In fact, I'm pretty sure it won't happen while we're doing this. Oh, I can't see this graphite line. Chance must have gotten his fill of catnip, because he sure got quiet, didn't he? Bless his heart. Bless his little heart. this is not Christmas, but one of my good friends had boys they were about the same age as Race. And the youngest one, there were 3 boys, and Race was the same age as her oldest. Then she had 2 younger kids. And the little one, I've forgotten how much younger he was than the other 2 boys. But anyway, when I got to meet her, got acquainted with the family, we knew each other from church. And when I got to meet them, the littlest boy was 2, and his name was Joe. And Joe, sweet, sweet kid, and I fell in love with Joe. I've always had a thing for younger men, which is why my little friend Sutter, who is 3, is great competition with the Studley Duck as to whether the Studley Duck has my heart or Sutter has my heart. But, there's room enough for both, I suppose. Anyway, Joe, the year he turned 3 was the year of the Care Bears. And Care Bears were in their heyday. And so I decided to make, because the Care Bears had a function in their name, and so one of the major sewing pattern companies had come out with a pattern. It was a licensed, they'd licensed it from the company, I suppose, and you could make the different styles of Care Bears. And so I decided to make him, for his birthday, a Care Bear, a birthday bear. And so I did. I made him birthday bear, and on the bottom out of blue fake fur, blue and white. Was it blue and white or green and white? I can't remember now. I don't know which one it was. Anyway, I appliqued felt, like regular felt, on, there were hearts, and I appliqued those by machine. I mean, this is back in the day when I really didn't know. I had sewn for a long time, but I certainly didn't have the sewing skills back then that I developed over the years. And so I'm sure that this was not the most ideal thing that I made, and it was made out of the worst fake fur because it's what I had access to, and it was, the Care Bears were all colored bright, they were all made out of colored fake fur, of course. And then I created a cupcake out of felt. And the cupcake had 3 candles on it, and it was all done in felt. And, and this is acrylic felt, which over time does not hold up, mind you. Okay, it does not hold up. It will wear out, and it will, basically, it just kind of rots away. Anyway, so when Joe loved, and I put a button, talk about a dumb thing to do, put a button on the end of the Care Bear's nose, like a button that had a shank on it, that was on the nose. And it was stuffed, but this is in the day and time when I really didn't know a whole lot about stuffing, firmly stuffing a doll or a stuffed animal. So he was rather softly stuffed. And over time, Care Bear lost all the stuffing out of his nose, and so he looked pretty pathetic. And so his mom had to go in and reattach the nose, and I don't know, she repaired that bear, I don't know how many times. He showed real signs of wear and tear over the years with the heart appliques and stuff. But when Joe was little, he would nap with his Care Bear, okay? And his mom, this is way before flip phones even, certainly before iPhones or any other kind of smartphone. And so he would be laying in his bed with his knees up and his Care Bear against his knees, and he's flipping the feet, his back legs back and forth. And he's 3, okay, and he's supposed to be taking a nap, and so he's flipping the Care Bear's feet up and down, going, with a hot feet, with a hot feet, with a hot feet, until he would go to sleep or get let out of his room, whichever came first. Well, Joe is in his 40s now, and Joe has 3 children of his own. And his oldest child is a little boy, and so when he was a little guy, he allowed his little boy to enjoy what was left of Woulda Hot Feet. I don't know if he still has him or not. Every once in a while when I see Joe, I say, "You still got that bear?" And most of the time he does a big smile and goes, "Yep." So I don't know if he still has him or not, but isn't that funny? You just never know what is going to make a kid's... you just don't know what kind of memory you're going to give a kid when you make something for him, you know? There's just as much chance that they won't want anything to do with it, by the way. So when you make it, it doesn't make any difference if you spend 5 minutes or 5 weeks making it. It doesn't make any difference. You give it to them and you let them do with it as they will. You give it freely as a gift. If they tear it up, they tear it up. If they love it for 40 years, they love it for 40 years, you know? Oh, I'm so sorry, Linda. Your Christmas will be subdued this year as it's so close after the funeral of my sister. Oh, Dorothy, big hugs to you. Big hugs to you. I don't know. Is APG Jamie still here? Hey, River City. Crocheting thermal double thick pot. Man, it's double thick. Wow. I don't even know how you do that. I saw Arna and Carlos at one point. They were knitting some kind of double knitted something. I know how you do it on a knitting machine because I used to sell those back when I had my retail store, but I don't know how you do it by hand. Although I'm a hand knitter, I don't know how you do that. I never learned that. I thought I was quite an accomplished knitter until I started watching some people knit online, and I went, nope, I am not accomplished. I am not. I was only accomplished in my thoughts, not in actuality. Oh, we only got 2 more to do. Yep, good. Look at all my little tags. All right, let's do this. Yeah, APG, I know that you said something on your video about donations. Was it donations for Lizzie's daughter's service? I don't even know what happened. Could you either direct message me or on Twitter or Instagram or something about that? I don't know what happened, or where they are in it's a GoFundMe. Okay. If you have a link or something and want to put it in the chat for that, it's Lizzie Brewer. Oh dear. Yeah, please. Is that the daughter that had the grandson that they spent so much time with? Or was it a different daughter? I know she has several children. Anyway. So, Lizzie Brewer is a streamer, and yeah, she does videos and streams on YouTube. I used to watch her all the time, and I don't know what happened. I guess YouTube quit showing me. It may have unsubscribed me for some stupid reason, and I haven't looked for a while. Okay. Well, thank you for, because I was totally unaware of any of that. You watched the video. Oh, so she did a video about it. Okay. I will go back and see the video. I didn't know that she had done a video. Okay, so I have finished trimming out all my tags. And so here we have them. And I have a hole punch. They're only trying to raise 3,000 and not quite to 1 yet. Has the funeral already happened? Because I'm not sure of the time and all of that. Funeral is Friday a week ago. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to first thing I'm going to do is see if I can get this out. Sometimes I have success. There we go. I'm going to put these together like this. Okay, now they should all be marked in the same spot. Let's hope. And then I'm going to look in through this hole. If I can see it. And then whatever, it's a tiny little hole. I don't know if that's going to be big enough. Let's try this again. Let me see if I have a bigger hole punch. A slightly bigger hole punch. I don't know if this is the same size. Let's see if this is the same size. All I need is a little piece of paper here. That's a little bigger. Okay, it's not going to let me do all of them at the same time, and I don't know whether this is going to work. Let's try one and see, shall we? Okay, let go. Okay, that's a better size hole. Yeah, that's a better size hole. Okay. So I have poked a few of these. So let's see if I can repunch these. If I can find, gotta find, there it is. Okay, that's good. And then I'll just erase my pencil mark. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and watch that. So did you put the link in? Yeah, you did. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. So if any of you want to help Lizzie and her family, it's the time of year where sometimes people have the ability or the want to help people out. Okay, so it would, we can vouch for the fact that although we don't know Lizzie personally, if you have watched Lizzie's videos, she is a sweet lady. Sweet lady. This is not the easiest punch to use. Not the easiest punch to use on your hands as far as squeezing them. Squeezing it, but I've had this punch for forever. Ooh. Here we go. Watercolor paper is not ideal for punching with this punch, I'll tell you that. I don't know if this is the same size. I have multiple hole punches. I know. Don't talk to me about it. Don't talk to me about it. I wonder if it's the same size as the small one on this. What do you think? Is it? We'll find out. Is it? Because if it is, that's going to make things easier. Oh, it is. Oh, good. Okay, never mind. Oh, yay. I'm happy. I'm a happy girl. I can put this away. That means I can also get rid of this punch because I don't need it. Anyway, okay, that'll make this, much easier. Ever so much easier. The worst thing about this hole punch, however, is that you gotta dig the part it punches out. You gotta dig that out because it always sticks inside the darn hole punch, which is a poor design in my opinion. But nobody asked me. Did they ask you? I doubt it. Okay. Anyway, I heard that on Jamie's channel, so since Jamie was here, that is why I wanted to ask her. Crocodile's a bit big. It's not much. Look. One of those is that long punch, that long, the one I was struggling with, and the other one is the crocodile. It's not enough difference to make any difference to me. I can tell you that right now. Yes, we're going to use it. We are going to use it. It's good enough. It's good enough. As soon as I get the holes punched, then we'll go through all the tags. We'll go through all the tags together, and we'll admire how cute they are, okay? We'll admire their cuteness. Whoops, wrong size. You do have to get the right size for this. Yes, okay, good enough. And then poke out the innards, because if you don't, they're not going to work. I wonder how many we can do at once. Let's see if it'll do all these at once. Oh, this could be a fiasco. Or it could work perfectly. I can see where the hole is through the hole. I can't see. I didn't do a good job marking that, so we're going to have to do another one. I didn't do a good job marking. See if I did a better job on this one. Oh, perfect. I mean, it's a little messy, but it's good enough. Okay. All right. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Okay, whoops. My chat went away. I hope you guys are doing okay and enjoying your afternoon, just hanging out. Just hanging out, as the saying goes. That might be a few too many. All right, let's go with this one on top. one's the big one. This is the small one. You'd think at some point I could just mark it so I remember. Ooh, popped it out. That was close to the edge, girl. That was pretty close to the edge. This one must be marked. Yeah, it's marked close to the edge. Oh, well. You know, sometimes you just have to live dangerously and, you know, hope it comes out okay. Hope you don't punch at the very edge. Okay. And then all we have to do are the little circly ones. Yep, go through the little circly ones. You'd think that they would come up with a better design than this, wouldn't you? Do they still make this tool? This crocodile? Because if they don't, somebody really should enlighten them. Alright, these are all circles. I realize I'm going to have to erase some of these. I'm not going to match up the holes. That's for the birds. Yeah. Do they still make these, and have they improved the design at all when it comes to that? I used to watch Laura, following the paper trail, Laura, when she was doing this a lot with the books and stuff that she was building, the mini books and stuff. I'd think, man, that's the worst ever design to have to do that. And it is. It's a pain in the neck to have to do this every single time. You know? To clean out the punch hole, the punched pieces. It's a great tool, but it's a pain in the neck when it comes to that aspect of it. Okay, good enough. Moving on. All right, so we'll look at the tags, and I'll probably ink around them. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see. Oh, the hat. I'm about ready to shed this hat, I'm telling you. Bye, Jamie. Merry Christmas to you, Miss Jamie. Okay, let's zoom in so you can really see these. Shall we ink one of them just so you can see what it looks like? I'm just going to use the cobalt blue because it's the one that's handiest. It's one that dries permanently, so if your packages get a little wet, which right now it is raining here, or misting or whatever, Muppet is standing outside the window going, "Help! Let the dog in. You forgot the dog." Anyway, there's one. So that's kind of what they'll look like, okay, with their inked edges. There's the other side. So the inking really does help make them look better. So use your imagination, people. Use your imagination, okay? So there's that one and that. While I'm looking at them, I'll erase the markings for the holes if I see them. So there's that one. Some of them have nothing on the other side. Some of them do. But this is a way to use up your papers, or, you know, scrap papers and so forth, your jelly plate cleanup things if you use if you do them on cardstock or mixed media paper. Mixed media paper is what I use to clean off the brayer on when I'm jelly plate printing. And I almost always have some sort of scrap paper available when I'm doing stenciling, you know, to clean up stencils and what have you. So it's good. It's good when you have, scraps available, because then you get cool stuff like this. And how long did that take? A couple of hours, 2.5 hours, and I'll have all these cool tags done that I can use. And a lot of these don't have to be Christmas, don't have to be for Christmas. They can be, they could be for birthdays or whatever else I wanted to use them for, right? So there's the circle ones. Okay, these I shouldn't have to clean up the markings on. So there's that one. And that one. And remember, I drew these for the most part on the back side of the paper. So it's like, this one, it's not great, but it's not terrible either. This was one where I just cleaned up stamps and stencils on. This is more stamp stencil cleanup. This is just cleaning the brayer off, and I just wanted it for the purple. So I could add a word, I could add, a stamp, I could add all kinds of things, but the honest truth is I'm so close to the needing them that they'll be lucky to get inked around the edges. And all of these came from just drawing around clothing tags. That's what they came from, is just drawing around clothing tags and then cutting them out. So there's that one. Same. I love that, where this has something on the back of it. This one is from that one that has stamping on. Sorry, I didn't even realize I was clear over to the side. But this piece of paper I did not like at all when I got done doing it. And I really like it cut down in little pieces. It's perfect. Perfect for what I want it to be. So you can see it literally when you cut down. This is a piece of the mandala that's the sticky back canvas that I printed the mandalas on and then cut them out and then stuck them on that piece of paper. There's more of it. So it's kind of fun to just have a little bit of my mandala artwork on there. More of the stamping, stenciling bits and pieces. Okay, so there's that. All right, so I'm going to just put those right there. And let's take a look at our notebook that we covered, a little moleskin that we covered, see how it's doing. So it's looking pretty good. Yep, it looks pretty good. And sometimes after it's dried, had a good chance to dry, sometimes the edges that you think are loose have magically stuck themselves in place. Yeah, that appears to be what happened to this. It appears to have stuck itself down. So, yay, it's all good. Okay, we've been here for 2.5 hours, and I think I'm going to have to go now because I'm hungry, you guys. I'm just flat out hungry. And I always have to remember how this spool thing goes back together, honestly. I'll do that off camera so you don't have to watch me struggle with this thing. Yeah. Because I can never remember how it goes back together. I always have to take one of the other ones apart. It goes this way, right? Oh, Barb, the struggle is real over here. Sometimes the struggle is real when it comes to Barb's mechanical ability. Yeah. All right, you guys, I'm going to go. I wish you all a lovely, lovely holiday. Can't I took it apart. Yeah, I took it apart, but that doesn't, I'll get one of my other ones and take it apart. So I go, yeah, I remember that's how it goes. Yeah. I'll tell you what, Claus Man was worth his weight in gold when it came to stuff like that, because he'd just look at this stuff and go, oh, that's how it is, and he'd put it back together. Yeah, Barb is worthless when it comes to this stuff. Anyway, I won't make you watch me. Okay, there's that part of it. Anyway, I'm going to go. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me this whole year. Oh, Sizik's Big Shot. I hope your wishes come true. Thank you for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday. Some holidays are easy and some holiday times are really tough. So if it's a tough time for you, then one of the things you can do is find somebody else to bless. Okay? You could be a big blessing to Lizzie. Sometimes that's good to do. Just help other people. And sometimes you just have to get through it. You know, there's all different things that we each deal with different stuff from one holiday to another. They're not all the same. And so find somebody else that you can help, and sometimes it's just sending an email or a direct message, or, you know, it doesn't have to cost any money. So do something nice for somebody else. It'll warm your heart. Even if you're having a rough time, it'll warm your heart. And then it makes your situation maybe a little bit lighter. So I send my love to each and every one of you. I hope you have a wonderful day today. Sometimes you just need to get through today. I understand that. And then face tomorrow. But the deal is, if you're struggling today, hang on till tomorrow. And I'll meet you back here on January 5th. And I will see you then for the next time that I'll be live, unless something happens that I can get on, do an impromptu something while I'm gone. I don't know. We'll see. So my love to each and every one of you. And until then, remember to get creative today, because you know it's easy, of course. And I'll see you before you know it. So bye for now.